It's 10 a.m. at a loud house as the loud family rush out of their home in a panic. Today is a day that they all been dreading for the last few weeks, April Fool's Day. This meant that Luan will be pranking her entire family with hidden prank traps in vicious rooms and areas of the house all day long. However, the rest of her family, they always had a plan in motion to avoid Luan and her pranks. Quick! Inside the bunker, everybody! Rita, Lynn Sr., Lola, Lana, Luna, Lucy, Lynn Jr., Lenny, Lori, and Lincoln follow Lisa inside of a bunker with a now 4-year-old Lily following close behind him. Man, I can't believe Luan is at it again. And here I thought she kept her word that she wouldn't pull any more pranks on April Fool's Day, especially after last year. Nobody in the family had forgotten about last year's April Fool's prank. Luan had pulled them all. She had hired duplicate actors from the film studio to take up places of her family members in order to prank them all. But Luan eventually got what she's coming to her when her family got back at her by placing all of her belongings on a movie van and forcing Luan to make a mad dash across town to get her stuff back. Even after all that, Luan still hasn't given up on pranking. What do you expect? She's Luan, the prankster queen. It's not like she's gonna give up on pranking anytime soon. Luan a meanie. I'm telling you, we got to do something about it once this day is over. Granny Luan isn't do much good enough. She always goes back on her word every year. Her pranks will be the death of us one day. I doubt she ever go that far, but her pranks could end up hurting someone real bad someday if she keeps it up. We should try standing up to Luan for once. Before anyone could respond to her suggestion, they all heard a knock on the bunker door. Come on, my little siblings. I know you're in there. Not a chance, Luan. Yeah, we're not looking to fall into your prank traps like last time. Oh, come on. I'm not gonna bite. No, come on. Luan, we're not coming out until nightfall or until you dismantle these traps of yours, so get lost. Jeez Wheeze, what a party pooper. Get it? Man, she's just not gonna give up, is she? Then I'll do something about it. What? Lincoln? You probably got every room in the house rigged with the prank traps? You're seriously not going in there, are you? Yes, I'm going to trip all the traps she got sent in the house, so that we can all get out of here. I did it once to prevent Ronnie Ann from getting caught in them. If I did it once, then I'll do it again. Are you sure about this, Lincoln? I'm very sure, Mom. I'll spring the traps and be back to get you in a flash. Alright. Be careful. It's your funeral, bro. Lincoln turned the wheel on the bunker to the right, unlocking the door. Then he pushed it open and climbed out of the bunker, and then decided to step around the door to avoid the pig during Luan threw it at the door a minute ago. Lincoln had closed the door. It started towards the house. But once he reached the porch, he set up a prank trap on a roof above him. A small twine rope was nailed a loose floorboard on a porch step and attached to the bucket of red food coloring on the roof. And when Lincoln stepped on the board, he caused the bucket to tilt and spill the red liquid all over him. This really pissed him off since he just washed his shirt the other night, and his food coloring would be impossible to get out. That Luan, she's gonna regret this. Just then, a Samsung tablet with a webcam attached to the front door sprang to life, displaying Luan's grinning face on the screen. Well, Lincoln, come try to find me. From what Lincoln could tell from the surrounding area, Luan, she's in the kitchen, standing near the sink. He tried to open the door, but the wooden door stuck under it from the inside. Luan, your pranks have gone far enough, and we're all sick of it. I'm coming in there and springing whatever traps you sent. Then you're gonna wash my shirt. Now take the step from under the door. Sorry, but I can't do that. I'm just having a blast day. Suddenly, a set of party poopers hanging from the porch ceiling went off above Lincoln, showering him with confetti. Luan laughed loudly as Lincoln glared in frustration at her. Then her tablet went dark. I have enough of this. After setting her tablet down inside the house, Luan finished setting up her last prank trap. This one consisted with a transparent piece of plastic twine that stretched across the entrance to the kitchen, a jar of an old baking grease, which he poured across the floor leading to the refrigerator. And a bucket of water balloons on top of a fridge. This way this prank would work is that Lincoln would head for the kitchen, trip on the twine and slide across the grease on the floor, then slam into the fridge, which would cause the bucket on top of it to spill water balloons all over him. Yeah, he'll never see this one coming. Luan kicked the stool aside and grabbed her iPad tablet and headed for the plastic where no prank trap. They headed to the attic where no prank traps had been set and watched everything unfold through Lisa's secret cameras on her iPad. However, Luan's was so preoccupied, and excited from setting up her last trap that she didn't notice that one of the front balanced leg on the fridge was too loosened. By this point, Lincoln had gotten the door open enough to slip inside. Once he entered the house, Lincoln thought where which he could start next. Looking for Luan. Started first, looking for Luan's prank trap. He knew that she most likely hit all the traps around in the area that she never looked before. It had been 2 years since Lincoln had held foil Luan's trap to save Ronnie Ann from getting caught in one of them, so he knew that she'd probably put the traps in a different location. I better check. I better start with upstairs first. Then I'll check the rest of the downstairs for any other traps Luan might have sent. Once he got up to the stairs, Lincoln stepped on a small rubber bulb that suddenly exploded in the shower with a Kermac red onion power, which made him sneeze several times. Man, I hate onion powder. I can't stop now. But I can't stop now. He entered the hallway and saw the door to his parents was open a crack, giving him an impression that something was off. Lincoln rushed up the door and pulled it open fully, only to be splattered with a full of rotten eggs, which stank like a bunch of real bad diarrhea farts. Ugh, sweet mother of crisis, rotten eggs. A few of eggs had splattered on his shirt and in the head, but most of them that had messed Lincoln entirely and landed at his feet. When you don't know when to quit, do you? In the attic, Luan stood near an old chair laughing hysterically as she watched the camera feeds on her iPad of Lincoln setting off all the traps of each of her siblings' room. Lucy's, Luan's room were rigged with pie launchers, which splat Lincoln in the face, in the chest with a chocolate cream pie. The bed in Lori and Lenny's room were filled with non-versus corn snakes, which Lincoln took back to the cage into Lana and Lola's room, only to drop another prank of Luan's that shot rubber bands at him from a set of prop guns sitting on Lola's table. Man, you really are desperate of stopping my pranks. Man, you really are desperate to stop my pranks, aren't you, Lincoln? The chopper room consisted of a garden hose and a piece of rope attached to the vial in the end. When Lincoln stepped on it, when he got sprayed with water, then he rushed it into Lisa and Lily's room. Once he entered into the room, he stepped a catapult and launched a bunch of oatmeal balloons and some of the Lisa's old chemicals on him. But he quickly rushed out of the room and slammed the door shut before they could hit him. Looks like my room is last. I better get this over with so we can all enjoy our day. In the attic, Luan watches Lincoln head straight towards his room and open, pull the door open. Man, wait until he sees it. Man, wait until he sees something in there. Once he's inside, Lincoln saw what looked like a party ball sitting on his bed. When he approached it, tried to touch it, the ball exploded like a firecracker and showered Lincoln with confetti and with whipped cream. He was about to leave the room, but we noticed something lying on the center of a spilt open party ball. What's this? No! Sitting on the bed was none other than his precious stuffed rabbit that he had kept since he was Lily's age. Both Bun's arms had been blown off since his right ear and lay on his bed. His body also had a few charm marks from the firecracker, but not many unrepairable damage, thankfully. They could pick up the damaged stuffed rabbit, but he was trembling hands and felt anger boiled inside of him. There's more than enough pranks that Lincoln had caught could withstand, but this one has crossed the line big time. Bun was his best friend, and Luan treated this rabbit like some sort of a toy or a prop to be used a folder of her pranks. Lincoln had sat the rabbit down on his bed and turned back towards the door with an enraged look on his face. Luan Loud, where the hell are you? You're gonna pay for this one. Luan still smirked and snickered at his temper, but couldn't help but wonder if she's gone a bit too far. But then she watched Lincoln head for the stairs on a camera, wondering where he'd go next. It didn't take long for Luan to figure that out. He's headed for the kitchen. I swear, I'm gonna teach that prankster a lesson when I get my hands on her. This time she's gone too far. However, he's so focused on finding Luan, but he didn't notice a tripwire at the kitchen entrance. As Lincoln headed for the kitchen, he tripped over the transparent cable in the doorway before even noticed it. Hey, what in the Lincoln hit the fridge so hard that it caused it to wobble back and forth, spilling a bucket of water balloons all over the floor around him, getting him wet. Luan's laughed her head off, and she watched Lincoln flip his sack on the camera. But what happened next was something that she had never suspected would happen. The loosened foot leg on the fridge had finally give away from the force of impact and broke off, causing the fridge to fall forward. Lincoln quickly tried to get out of the way, but he couldn't fast enough. Unfortunately, the heavy fridge fell directly on him, causing Lincoln to fall out of a blood-curdling scream of agony and pain. But his screams were soon silent after a sinking crush was heard from beneath the toppled fridge. Then everything was silent. Luan's laughter stopped, and her joy and amusement quickly turned into fear and horror and dread as she watched the whole scene unfolded before her eyes on the camera fed from her iPad. She couldn't believe what had just happened, nor did she even suspect anything like this would happen. Oh God, no, Lincoln! She quickly threw the iPad down onto her old beanbag nearby and rushed down the ladder and out of the attic quickly as a roadrunner. Once Luan made it down the stairs and into the kitchen, she found the fridge lying on top of Lincoln. But that wasn't the worst thing he saw. From under the fridge, Luan saw a puddle of blood forming underneath on the top of it. At this point, Luan knew she is in deepest trouble now. But that was the least of her worries. She had tried all of her might to lift the fridge off of Lincoln, but it's too heavy. Yet her fear and depression could make a massive unaided line rush to flow through her. With one final effort, Luan tried to put all of her strength into her arms and muscles to push the fridge as hard as he could. Finally, lifting off Lincoln and off it to his side. However, nothing could have prepared for what she saw. No! No! Lincoln lay unconsciously on his side with a massive bloody bruises on his forehead, with a drench of his white hair red with blood. His black left thigh, with a few broken teeth. His right forearm had gotten the worst, however. It's not only broken, but the bone had pierced through the skin. It could be seen protruding out of the side of his forearm. This was the source of the blood that had pooled beneath Luan's feet. She checked on her pulse, fearing the worst that had happened, but she had felt the pulse running through his neck. He's alive, to her relief. Lincoln! 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 Wake up, Lincoln! Please wake up, please! Lincoln didn't even stare, which made Luan begin to panic. She knew without a doubt she'd be grounded for life. But Luan didn't care anymore. She rushed out of the kitchen and headed for outside. And meanwhile, in Lisa's bunker, the rest of her Loud family grew a bit concerned about how long Lincoln was taking. Lincoln sure is taking a long time in there. I wonder if he's okay. I'm sure he's fine, kids. Lincoln dealt with this before, so I'm sure he can handle Luan. Before anyone could say anything else, a loud rapid banging erupted from the bunker door, catching everyone's attention. Lori glanced at the door window, thinking it was Lincoln, but she only saw Luan. Luan, I already told you once before, get away from... Guys, open up! You gotta help me! Not a chance, no chance, Luan. You think we're gonna fall for this trick? We're not as stupid as you think. She's right, Luan. You're just gonna pull on us if we open the door. Please! Lincoln is hurt! He's hurt real bad! He's losing blood! That got everyone's attention big time at first. Some of the girls thought this was some scare tactic to get them all to come out. But they immediately knew that something was terribly wrong when they noticed the tears in Luan's eyes. Yeah, girls, I don't think she's lying. You better get up there now. Once he opened it, he led the rest of the family out of the bunker where Luan stood nearby in tears. Luan Sr. and others noticed a frightened Luan look. They all knew at once that something had happened. Luan, where's Lincoln? And what happened to him? He's in the kitchen. The fridge fell out on him. Not even saying another word, the whole family rushed into the house faster than ever. Before Luan Sr. and Raider made their way into the kitchen, completely unprepared with what they saw. Oh my God! Lincoln hurt. She may have been 4 years old, but she understood that her brother was in trouble just by looking at the state he's in. Oh my God, Lincoln! His arm! As soon as the others made it inside the kitchen, they all gasped in shock at the sight of their brother in a mangled state. Even Lucy looked deeply disturbed. Lori, call an ambulance now! Luan, what the hell have you done with him? Hey, why is the fridge on the side? Lynn Sr. looked over at the type of fridge and then over at Luan with a rage in his eyes. Luan, what in God's name did you do? Why is the refrigerator knocked over? I didn't. Mom, I just called the hospital. They're sending help. They said that help will arrive in a few minutes. Mom, Lincoln's not dead, is he? No, I feel the pause if help doesn't arrive soon. We better find something to wrap his broken arm up in. If Lincoln keeps looking at his blood at his pace, we may lose him. I'll get the old clean towels from the basement. As Lana left the room, Rita tried desperately to wake Lincoln up, but to no avail. Lincoln aggressively demanded Luan to tell him what had just happened, but Luan does not care if she get in trouble. Spill the beans. Describe the praying in the kitchen and how it's supposed to work. Then Luan explained how when Lincoln tripped over the new, now broken trap wire and he slipped across the floor and slammed into the fridge, which caused it to fall on him. But that's what happened. But that's what happened. But you have to believe me when I say I had no idea that the fridge would fall on Lincoln. That's never my intention. Luan, whether or not you plan to drop the fridge on Lincoln, matters not. The fact of the matter is that you did something very reckless without using your head. Because of that, look what's been coming of Lincoln. That's right, Luan. Did you even consider the facts that your pranks might have gone wrong? Did you even think to check the fridge? Any sight of that what had just happened? You really done it this time, Luan. This time, you've gone too far. I told you your prank would be a death of us one day. Luan jumped back, startled. Lucy had never been this hostile before, but it's understandable. Given the current situation, before anyone else could lecture, before Luan began, the family heard all the sound of a fire engine horn blasting in the distance, along with the wheeling of a Q siren and electronic siren accompanying it. That must be the pandemic. I'll go check. At first, Lori had thought it was a fire engine, but she, on the other hand, but once they reached the sidewalk, they saw it actually was. Approaching the house with a large modified red and white Mack trucks ambulance with the lights flashing with a Q siren wheeling. It's electronic PA 4000. Brand siren was also running, but shut off as the ambulance slowed down to the next red painted curb and the next to the loud house. And the Q siren slowly wound down after it came a complete stop. Lori then noticed a word. Critical Emergency Response Unit. Written on the side of the ambulance, making her feel more tense than ever. These types of motivated ambulances were only used for emergency of Royal Woods for victims suffering serious life-threatening injuries. It is actually clear that Lincoln was in a very bad shape. She had never thought that Luan's prank would eventually lead up to one of these kind of events. She and the rest of the family never thought this could happen. But how wrong they all were. Once of Luan's pranks finally went awry, and now the member of her own family was suffering because of it. Mom, Dad, no. We should have stopped Luan when they had a chance. But instead, we all hide in a bunker like cowards every April Fool's Day, just hoping Luan will go easy on us. And now, look what's happened as a result of our cowardice. 2 MTs of officers inside the back of the ambulance wheelchair a large stretcher out of the sidewalk and versus medical equipment on it. Then the 2 others step out of the driver in the passenger side of the ambulance and walk up to Lori. The MT driver's name read Nelson Rivers. Are you one who called us about someone named Lincoln Loud needs some immediate help? Yes, I'm his big sister, Lori Loud. My parents and sisters are with Lincoln in the kitchen. Can you lead us to them? Yes, right away. You best hurry. You better hurry. He's in her real bad. Quick inside, Lori lead MTs into the kitchen where they found Len Sr. trying to revive Lincoln and Rita gently whispering an old towel around his broken forearm. Lincoln's sister stood nearby. Mom, they're here. Oh, thank God. Move aside, ma'am. We need to check them out. Once she and Lynn Singer were out of the way, the MT officers lowered the stretcher and wheeled it next to Lincoln. Nelson instructed the other 3 MTs to slowly lift Lincoln onto the stretcher. As they did, the blood-soaked towel accidentally fell off Lincoln's broken forearm, exposing the bone. Jesus Christ! What the hell happened to this kid? The poor kid looks like a train hit him. The 3 MT unloaded their equipment, which considered a heart monitor, We're partially masking Representative bandages and splint. Oh, Lincoln's broken forearm in places. They hook up Lincoln to the heart monitor and rest better. Nelson looked at Rita and then Senior asked, Are you two this boy's parents? Yes, I'm Rita Loud and this is Lynn Senior is his father. How long he hasn't been unconscious? Since before you got here, he fell unconscious when the fridge fell on him. But it's possible that Lincoln suffered a bad conclusion. In any case, we need to get him to the ER right away. Lincoln was now fully hooked up with a heart monitor. His broken forearm has been bandaged, stripped, and held in places in a metal splint. And the representative mask had been placed over his nose and mouth. Just then, the alarm of heart monitor went off, alerting everyone in the kitchen. Oh God! Get him to the ambulance now! Increase the oxygen while you're at it. What's going on? What's happening? His oxygen levels are dripping, probably from the blood loss and the other possible internal injuries. We don't know about it yet. We need to move on now, or we could lose him. At the mention, Lincoln's probably dying. His sister began to tease up with fear and dread. Luan began to cry softly. Again. Rita and Len Sr. followed Nelson and the other MT out of the door and with Lincoln and the sisters in tow, headed towards the large ambulance. Is there any possibility of us getting going with him? You and your husband should fit, but the rest of your family would have to remain here or the other way to follow along. All right. Lori, me and your dad were riding with Lincoln. Take Lily and the rest of your sisters follow us to the hospital in the van. Lori nodded and took the Lily from Rita and ordered her sisters to file inside the family van, which they did in a heartbeat. Luan sat furthest away in the back, still crying, not saying a word. Once Lincoln was safely inside the ambulance, Rita and Lynn Sr. climbed inside to pull his door shut. Hang on back there, you two. We'll be traveling at very high speeds in our way. He then started the engine, switched on the emergency lights, and headed off. Switching on the PA 4000 siren. Once they were on the road, the MT officers in the passenger seat began blaring the cue siren and air horns as the ambulance hit traffic ahead. Outside, Lynn Sr. saw Lori and the others following close behind the ambulance in the Vanzilla. The two MT worked ferociously to keep Lincoln stable as they increased the level of oxygen to the representative and examined his head and chest. They had to remove Lincoln's shirt to do this, but when they did, large purple blotches had been seen near the right side of his chest. Shoot! This is worst! The MT officers on the left cursed. They look at the small window leading to the passenger carpet. Nelson, you better step on it. Inform the hospital that we got a code 40. This kid is far more dangerous than we thought. On it. What's wrong with him? Is he dying? He's going to if we don't act now. He's got a puncture on his right arm, on his right lung, probably from a few broken ribs. That's the reason why Lincoln's losing oxygen. He basically been slowly choking on his own blood the whole time. Oh God, Lincoln! What are we going to do? We'll have the surgery drain the blood in his lung with a tow car before it collapses completely. If we wait any longer, he dies. It's a miracle that he made it this long on a perched lung that it hasn't collapsed yet. The other MT handed him a blood bag of an IV pipe attached to it that hooked up to the tow car. Then he perched right onto the right side of Lincoln's chest. Once the tow car was in place, the blood of Lincoln's left lung began to drain into the blood bag and resembling his respiratory system. The alarm on his heart monitor stopped, but Lincoln's heart rate was still very low. Looks like Lincoln is stable for now, but he's still in very bad shape. Lincoln's not going to die on us, is he? I honestly don't know. His injuries are very serious, so we can hopefully hope that he pulls through until we reach the hospital. Lincoln? Lori and her sisters were far more intense and worried than ever as they followed close behind the ambulance carrying Lincoln and their parents. Lori didn't have to worry much about the other cars since the ambulance easily cleared the traffic with its electric siren cues. Cue siren and the fire engine air horns. This easily allowed Lori to match her speed with the ambulance, which was currently going to full 98 AMP. The speed that Lori had never exceeded until now. Lori, do you think Lincoln will? The rear door windows were tint, so it's hard for Lenny to make out what's going on inside the ambulance. Don't say it, Lenny. He's not going to die on us. Lincoln is stronger than you think. I know he'll pull through. This is all Luan's fault. If it wasn't for her stupid pranks and her, this would have been happening. Yeah, we all know that something like this would happen one day. Now look what she's done. Her pranks have brought only misfortune upon us all. Luan was probably the only one crying harder than anyone else in the band. She knew from the ambulance fact that what her sisters were saying was true. There's no denying it. Luan never thought this could happen, nor she did ever suspect that one of her pranks could go wrong like this. She's a queen of pranks, but she never blotched a prank before. So how could this have gone wrong so very? It may be a precious little difference as to why it went wrong, but the fact that it did. So this is all the results of Luan's horrible blunder. Lincoln was now inside of an ambulance and on his way to the hospital in a critical condition because of what she's done. Luan began to reflect on the April Fool's pranks she pulled on her in the past and finally realized just how foolish and reckless she had been all this times. Luan had never thought or considered the possibility that her pranks could have badly injured or even killed one of her parents or siblings during these times, especially one that the hotel And now she started to wonder why she even pulled those pranks in the first place. Luan never intended to hurt anyone. She only wanted to spread her joy on April Fool's traditions and get laughing out of her pranking her family as she always did every year. Yet she never into considering as you know how it made anyone else feels. And Luan had never thought that any of her pranks could have gone wrong since she had always tested them first. But she had never even thought to inspect the fridge before setting up. The prank would have eventually lead to the horrible event Luan never seen thought the fridge would have actually fell over when Lincoln hit. And since it's so big and heavy and inside, the leg had not been so loose, the fridge may have been staying in place instead of falling over on Lincoln like it did. How could I have been so blind? How could I miss such a detail like this? I'm so sorry, Lincoln. Luan didn't know what Lincoln's actual condition was to moments since he was inside of ambulance, but could only think of the horrible things possibly going on in there. She imagined everything from Lincoln choking to death on his own blood, to suffering full critical arrest, possibly end up being brain dead, or worst of all, dead. Luan don't know how her family would ever forgive her for this. But she could only hope that pray that Lincoln wasn't going to die from his injuries because of her recklessness. Luan, please, Lincoln, please don't die on us because of me. I'm so sorry. Please, God, don't take my brother away from me.